Hi, I'm Kathy Mills from Short Film Edits, and I'm here with Jake Lively for an interview today. How are you?
I'm great. It's so great to be here with you, Kathy.
Thank you. Could we start this with you telling us a little bit about you?
Sure. That's a very broad question. Is there anything
hmm
specific that you want me to start with, or do you want me to talk about
Just
when I was
go,
born in 2001?
whatever you want people to know about you.
Right. All right. So it all started with the birds and the bees.
hmm
No, a little bit about me. Well, I love to act, obviously. That's why I'm here. It's why I moved to LA. It's what's completely charged my life for the past couple years. Kind of my whole life. When I look back in it, when hindsight's 2020, but it was something that I didn't know for a long time, something that I pushed out of my life for a long time. You know, I live for film and entertainment media. It's how I've always connected with people. It's how I connect with myself. It's how I learn about everything. What it is to be a person, I guess, to get really pretentious while pretending not to be. And now I feel like I'm rambling, but I I like to ski. I like to rock climb. I like to be outside. I like playing sports just as much as I like to sit at home and read a good book or take a long walk on the beach. Um, I don't know. I mean, I feel like I'm your average Joe, but I just get to be not so average every now and then, and I'm very fortunate to be so.
Yeah, I love that. So, what drew you to the vertical space?
I'm very tall. I fit in the
Mm,
space pretty well.
yep.
Uh, no, aside from, framing and composition wise, it's kind of a combination. I think, definitely part of it is verticals are a readily available space right now, where it's providing a very unique opportunity for people such as myself, where I've only been acting for a couple of years, but I'm getting so much opportunity to act, to spend all my day acting, to spend every day acting, and really get to work on my craft and hone my skill. Thanks to verticals, thanks to this new entire format of storytelling. It was just so cool. So that definitely drew me to it, largely. And I could have gone to theater instead to do that, but I've been a film guy since I was born. Since I was a guy, I've been a film guy. I've always been obsessed with the camera, acting for the camera, and just the camera in general, which is where verticals come in, and instead of theater. And it's fun where it is you get to play these huge characters and you get to really stretch out your legs and getting to, hit one full end of the spectrum all the way to the other end of the spectrum while still making it believable and not trying to implicate like you can see sometimes like playing for the back row in theater. We're still playing just for the camera here, but we're getting all this practice playing at an 11, which I think is so much fun and it's so
Yeah.
interesting. It keeps every day fresh and new and exciting. Um, so that's my answer.
Yep. Have you done much theatre? Have you done?
No.
No, no.
No,
Okay.
I've done some. Actually, theater is where I got my start. For a long time, I thought I could not act. I thought I wanted to be a writer or a director. I still want to be a writer director. And I wanted to do that just like as a hobby, not as a career for a long time. And then a friend of mine, their mom was putting on a play, was putting on a musical, and they said, Jake, we think you'd be so good for the supporting role part. Why don't you be in our play? And I said, I can't act. That's so scary. I don't want to be on stage singing too. I can't. I really can't sing. But it's like terrified. But I was like, okay, sure. I'm really good friends with this whole family, and they really want me in it. Like, sure, I'll do it as like a favor. And how bad could it be? I'm not pulling teeth. I actually had a blast. I had so much fun with it. And then I thought, wait, maybe I can act. Maybe I
Yeah.
do like doing this. And then we kind of snowballed from there. That was actually my only experience on the stage, but it was very pivotal to my life. And it's
That's
something that I
good.
would like to go back to at some point.
It was a turning moment.
Yes, it was. Yes, it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah. Okay. What's the hardest part of preparing for a character?
That's a good question. I think the hardest part to prep for a character is I don't know. I want to say I want to give like a shoe an answer, say it's learning my lines. It's
Mm.
so hard because I do feel like it's not supposed to be that hard to prep for a character. The way I see acting, it's just sure you're becoming another person, but I think everybody's very connected, and I think we all kind of are. We can be each other. We're just different uh, vibrations at different frequencies and stuff. To very overly simplify this pretentious acting quote I heard once from an old professor of mine, who was a great professor. Tim was his name. Uh, but anyways, I think the hardest part about preparing for another character is forgetting yourself. Um, where I think I find it very easy to take on the helm of someone else and like to try and like view the world through someone else's perspective. Uh, but then the one thing that does stop me is while I'm doing so I need to actively forget about myself within this character and forget about how I'm being perceived when I present this character. Because I think the one real stoppage for every actor is awareness, is like self-awareness, is self-awareness.
Mm.
Because as soon as you're self-aware, you're no longer acting and you're performing. And to me, those are two very different things. And I'm here to act. I'm not here to perform. I'm here to act.
Yeah.
And that means not being self-aware. And that means wholeheartedly prepping this character to the point where I can be so confident that I know my guy. I know my guy. And whatever piece of me that I retain, that like that little voice in my head that's there still like, no, this isn't it, this isn't that. Just shutting that guy up so I can be the character.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. All right. Is there any way you really want to film that you haven't had the chance to yet?
Yeah, so many places actually. I would love to film. I mean, if we just limit to where I know verticals are shooting right now, I would love to shoot in Vietnam. I'd love to shoot in Turkey. I'd love to shoot in Vancouver, Lithuania, Italy. I've heard about them shooting in recently.
Oh, yeah,
And then even within Australia. Oh my gosh, I'm dying to shoot in Australia.
yeah.
Uh, these are all places that they're places that I would love to go visit to and I'd love to travel to. And I fully plan on the day that I get that call saying, "Hey, you got booked on this series in Vietnam." I'm gonna say, "Great, extend my trip 2 weeks so I can travel."
Yeah.
Um, because I mean, a big part of why I act too is to get this experience of in general, and I think this very much involves acting, where it's like you get to live the lives of 10, 20, 100 different people because you're acting because you're being this person, and then you also get to live so many lives within your own life because it's a very unique experience and a unique job in the fact that you are on the move so much, that you are traveling so much, and you're traveling alone a lot. Within the past year, I've spent about 2 months in China alone, and it's been such a phenomenal experience. I wouldn't trade for anything, and I want nothing but more of that. So pretty much anywhere,
Yeah.
um, anywhere that I have a shot, I want to go shoot.
Yeah. I mean, I hear a lot of actors and actresses say that they spend a lot of time in China and they're alone. So, like, sometimes it's a
Yeah,
good thing for them, sometimes it's not so great. It's just
yeah.
depending on where you are, then yeah.
Very much so. It's definitely a mixed bag. It depends on where you are. It depends on who you have immediately surrounding you, like other castmates, other crew members, just whoever's there. Like everything, but I think whether I'm actively having fun that day or not, I'm always growing and I'm always learning so much. And at the end of the day, it can't be that bad that, you know?
Yeah. You're getting paid to travel around everywhere for a job, which is awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I've heard enough people gripe about shooting in certain locations that it's easy to turn away from. But then at the end of the day, you're getting paid to travel.
Mm.
And you're getting paid to travel and then act. And if you don't like acting that enough to do, if you don't like acting that much, like so much that you would go to the ends of the earth, I would go shoot in Antarctica, sleep in the sleeping bags. I'd go shoot in wherever if it means that I got to act. And if you don't feel that same way, then what are you doing in this industry? You
Mm-hmm.
know?
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I've heard that a lot of times. The only way that you're going to make this career work is if you're willing to do anything for it, like in, considering certain circumstances you wouldn't do, but you know what I mean. Like you,
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean.
You're willing to do
Yeah,
almost anything for it.
almost anything. Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah. All
I mean,
right. What has been your most rewarding role so far?
speaking of doing anything, I think my most rewarding role would definitely be playing Julian in Dark Passion. Um, that is out on. I should be more prepared. Playing Julian in Dark Passion, streaming on Drama Wave,
Mhm.
I think.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'll correct it if it's wrong.
okay, thanks. You can just like dub over it or
Yeah.
throw some subtitles. Thanks. That was definitely my most rewarding role. It was such a blast of a shoot, such a fun character. It's kind of a period piece, but also just in an alternate like reality, playing with magic, playing with a wonderful cast. Shout out Krista Hedens. She's Icelandic. I cannot say her last name, but Krista is a phenomenal actress. She was
Mm.
so talented, so much fun to work with. And this was it was my first ever lead. I was so scared going into it. I was so nervous and I was barely sleeping at all every night. I think I slept 3 hours max. I'd go home and I'd write out all my lines for the next day, and I'd wake up in the morning and I'd be writing out all my lines as I ate breakfast and then go to set. And I like to write my lines to help me memorize them sometimes. If I'm really scared I won't remember them, I'll write them down.
Yeah.
But Chris was phenomenal to work with. Our director, Michelle Beale, he was phenomenal to work with. He had such a great vision. Our DP, Igor Palazovsky, another Russian name. He was phenomenal. He really crafted a painting with every frame. Um, Everything really came together. It was a wonderful shoot. It was a really fun character for me. It was such a huge learning experience for me to get to learn how to lead a cast, to lead a production for the first time. And I was able to find a lot of confidence in it. And I think, acting is entirely a mental game. It's your imagination and being confident in your choices. And it really set the tone, I think, for where I am today and where I'm going.
Mm.
So that was Julian in Dark Passion was definitely the most rewarding role I've gotten to play.
I like that. Okay. What's one risk you've taken in your career that really paid off?
Am I allowed to say starting my career? Does that
Yep,
count?
sure.
Okay.
That's a risk
Sure.
depending on how you feel about starting it. So,
Hmm. Well, then the biggest risk I've taken in my career was making the choice for this career. Before I started acting, I was fully geared up to become a doctor to fulfill my family's dream, which I thought for a long time was my dream. And going to orthopedic surgery, I went to NYU not to act, even though it's a very renowned acting school. I was pre-med at NYU, and that was a very defining thing for me. And I only started acting after graduating. And my entire family, still to this day, they all think I'm a psycho. They all think suddenly like a couple screws went loose and I lost a few marbles out in New York City. Because
oh,
why on earth would this small, I grew up in Utah in a very small town. Like, why is this small Utah boy suddenly have stars in his eyes saying, I'm gonna be an actor. I'm gonna be in the movies. After my whole life, I've been like shooed away from that. When I was 5 years old, I wanted to be an actor. And my family was very strongly like, no, you're going to get a good education, you're going to get a stable job, and you're going to, it was pretty much the the age-old adage of you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be a lawyer.
yeah.
Choose your path, right? The illusion of free choice. And
Hmm.
I chose doctor because I've wanted to help people my whole life.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I came to New York that one, I realized um, a profession in the creative industry in entertainment is actually a feasible thing. It's not easy, but it's feasible. Two, doctors have the lowest career satisfaction rate out of pretty much anything aside from dentists, which I found firsthand from talking to a bunch of doctors. And three, you can help people so much in entertainment. Um, I realized that, it's entertainment. It's been movies for me that have gotten me through every difficult time in my life. It's been movies that have been with me in every great time of my life. I mean, it was because of a movie. It's because of this movie called Gifted Hands that I wanted to become a doctor. Movies have shaped me in ways that I cannot even describe. And how could I not want to be part of that? I want to add my voice to the choir. So here we are. And my family thinks I'm crazy for it, but here we are.
But you don't think you're crazy for it, and that's what matters, yeah.
I think you need to be crazy for it. I
Yeah,
think I am crazy
a
for
little bit.
it. But a good crazy.
Yes, good kind of crazy. All right.
Yeah.
Are there any other creative mediums you would like to explore?
Yes. So I've mentioned this a little bit. Writing and directing.
Mm.
Again, still in film, still in entertainment. But those are my bread and butter. I love it. I mean, I really got my start acting. Aside from the play that I mentioned, I wrote and directed my own short film right after graduating NYU. And then soon thereafter, my DP from that short film, Griffin Boswell, great guy, he asked me to be in a spec ad that he made. And I was like, I've never acted before. I'm so scared. And then I did it and I had such a blast. I was like, ooh, acting's actually kind of cool. And then one thing to not to the next. So writing and directing again kind of like opened that door for me. It's something that I really love to do. I spend a lot of my free time writing, and I'm hoping to start producing my own stuff very soon. I've been working on a couple verticals to that I've been writing, and I'm hoping to direct within the coming few months that I cannot talk about yet, but I'm very excited about.
Hmm.
But those are definitely uh, the other industries or the other, what do you call them?
Mediums, kind of like
Mediums,
mediums,
yeah.
other things you want to do.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of it for me as far as artistry goes. I mean, I know a lot of people that make music or paint or draw, and as much as I love those and I respect those, they just aren't for me. I don't take to them, not like I do with movies, with the spoken word. I love it. I think Dead Poet
Yeah.
Society really affected me.
Mm. I
Yeah.
mean, drawing is something that I wish I could do, but I can't. Yeah.
Don't tell anyone,
Mm.
me too. The storyboards I make when I'm trying to make my stories, they're embarrassing. They're so bad. Stick figures and like triangles to show the camera.
My 10-year-old can draw better than me, so you know.
Yeah,
All right, so
cool.
without going into any of your scripts, if you could star in a vertical that you would class as your perfect storyline, what would it be?
Okay, if I could star in one, it's the perfect story and I'm starring. Okay. So the character's written around me as an actor and who I like to play. Oh, I would really love to do. I mean, I really like to do these sort of like anti-hero characters, these like emotionally troubled people. Because I feel like it gives a lot of depth to the story. So that's gotta be in it somewhere. I would love to do. I'm really stuck. I feel like a lot of the guys in this industry have the same sort of answer, but I would love to be either a cowboy or a knight. It would be so
Mm.
much fun.
Oh, you're the first person to say a
Vertical.
knight. Actually, kind of, I think Richard said something about like he wants to do something with a sword and, horses and, outback,
Yeah,
like, or like
so
fighting,
cool.
something like that.
It'd be so much
Yeah.
fun. I love to do like, being an emotionally troubled knight serving the Lord that he doesn't like or something. Wanting to win over the
Hmm,
princess and slay a dragon. I don't know. That'd be fun.
that
Or
would be cool.
or Indiana Jones, but make it a vertical. That would be
Yes.
right.
Yes. That would be
Right.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it would. Yeah,
Yeah.
it would. Raiders of the Lost Ark is one of my favorite movies of all time. Maybe my
Mm,
favorite. So if
yeah.
I could do a vertical of that, done deal. Done
Yeah.
deal.
My favorite movie of all time is Shawshank Redemption.
Ooh, great one. Really good
Hmm.
pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
Um, there's so many people want different genres in the vertical space. My main answers are horror and comedy.
it.
Mm.
Horror and comedy would be a lot of fun. I mean, I think comedy works so well on the format, on the screen. We see comedic series and like sketch comedies doing so well on social media that I'm astounded at the fact that vertical series haven't really made that jump so much. I think
Hopefully they
horror
do
is
soon.
self-contained.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, I would love to see some other genres. It would be
Mm.
very refreshing.
Yeah, I want action and sci-fi. They're my two
Action.
that I want.
I would love action adventure. I would love like drama and comedy. I mean, those are what I really want to be acting in long term. I want to be doing drama and comedy. Maybe like action adventure sort of action, but I'd love to be doing verticals that are dramedies. Dramedy verticals would be so much fun. It'd be so cool.
Yeah. You just need to make sure that you reach that peak of like comedy to bring people into that next episode in like a 2 minute time frame. So I
That's the
think,
tricky part. That's the tricky
mm,
part. I think that's why we've been sticking so much to these like sort of soap opera um niche. Because soap operas are built around having this cliffhanger after cliffhanger, attention grabber after attention grabber, hook after hook. But I think it's doable.
yeah,
I think it's a new. I don't know if you can hear my dog, but he's having some fun.
some of my kids, I don't know if you can hear them, but I certainly can.
No, no, we're all good on your end. You know, I think it's definitely doable to make stories of any genre fit within our sort of formula that we have for verticals and to keep people's attention grabbed. It doesn't have to be a story related hook every time. I mean, I stop and I'm hooked by, very cinematic shots on social media or by a good joke, or just by a strong character that I want to see more of. Um, I think there's so many different ways to hook people that you could do it in any genre. It's the same in like, a lot of people kind of shirk the cinematic possibility of verticals. A lot of times you see um I'm trying really hard not to put this the right way. But a lot of, sometimes there are very standout verticals when things are shot very cinematically, with great lighting setups and really great blocking and they stand out so much that it's surprising that we don't see it more. But I do feel like as time goes on, we're seeing more and more of this higher quality sort of vertical. And I think, we can do that with different genres as well, with the storytelling, with the scripts themselves,
Yeah,
which is
they're
very exciting.
definitely they're definitely evolving that way. They're getting better and better,
It's
especially the
they are.
storylines. Yeah.
They really are. It's been so nice to watch happen. I started acting in these a year ago, like
Mm.
exactly a year ago. So I've been in it for a year, and just within the past year, I've seen a huge, it's night and day, the difference I've seen of the storytelling capability. Um, and what it's like to be on set and just everything. It feels like it's like running a lot smoother now. And it's fun to watch. I feel like we are on a much, much expedited version of the same track that cable TV was on starting in like the 70s to where it is
Yeah.
now. I think verticals are on that same path, and I'm so here for it.
Yeah. I'm excited to watch them grow. So,
Me too.
yeah.
Me too.
Okay. What makes a good scene partner for you?
Um, there's so many things. I think what really makes a good scene partner is someone that has fun. I think it's so apparent, even when you watch it, you can tell when actors are having fun in their role. You can tell when people are enjoying their job, and it makes them fun to watch. And then acting across from that, it makes it really fun to act with, and then we get to have fun together. And I think that's where all the best work comes is when you're having fun with it. Especially acting, when you get to like let go and have fun, and suddenly, that's when you make these like spontaneous, organic, brilliant like acting decisions because you're having fun, because you're getting to play. You're playing a role you should be playing. And also when someone has fun, then they're also a very generous scene partner. And whether they're meaning to or not, like they just, they're doing it for the fun of it. They want you to do well, and because when you do well, they do well, and it's just such a positive feedback loop that all starts from I'm having fun. Are you having fun? We're having fun together. Great. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Um, that's what keeps it fresh, and that's what keeps it fun. It's the big F word
Yeah.
today.
Yeah. And I think trust plays a massive role in that as well.
Totally, totally. I mean, you can't have fun without trust.
Mm.
And you, my gosh, yeah. I mean, trust is kind of the necessary component for any scene working with anybody. Is like if I trust you in any capacity, in any which way, like I need to trust you in order to like be able to let go and have fun in the scene and be able to like drop in and do it all. And if I don't trust this person that I'm with, then forget about it, then I'm gonna be guarded. And if I'm guarded, then then we can't act. So trust
Yeah,
is huge.
yeah, definitely. Okay. Um, what's a good question? Actually, this is good for you because this is your first interview. So, what's a good question? Well, what's a question you wish interviewers would ask you more and why?
See, this is a tricky question because it is my first interview. Um,
Hmm.
and so I kind of using this as like the bar, this is the blueprint. So all my future interviews, I'm like, well, they didn't ask this question that Kathy asked that I really liked.
Well,
Um,
I hope I live up to that standard.
anything that I feel like I say now is going to be, well, Kathy, you should have asked me about my dog. I wish you would ask. But
I want to see your dog.
it's too late now, Kathy. Um, no, okay, okay, okay. Back to being serious. Serious interview time. I'm a professional. Let's see. A question that I would love to get asked by interviewers, I think is about, what I draw from in general, I guess. Like what are my favorite movies? Who do I look up to? Why do I look up to those people? Why do I like the movies that I like? What do I, and then going into which you kind of also bounced into is like, where do you want to go long term? What do you want to do long term? Where do you see yourself in 20 years in a perfect scenario? What nobody enters this industry without a dream. What is your dream? For some people it's working. So for others it's winning an Oscar. For others it's being in the T-Mobile commercial. I don't know. Um,
Yeah.
I guess that would be if I were an interviewer, I guess those would be the questions I would ask. But I don't think I've come across anything that was like, I really wish an interviewer would ask me this. I'm not that self-absorbed. We're close.
Good. All right. If you could go back and be one of your characters for 24 hours just for fun, who would it be?
Oh no. Oh no. Um, who would it be? Shoot, I feel like all my characters go through so much hardship. There's no one's like walking on daisies out here.
Right.
Okay, if we are post like after the wrap of the vertical, we're in the happily ever after. Julian from Dark Passion.
Hmm.
He's magic and he's super happy and it's like just such an interesting world that he lives in. That would be a lot of fun. And if it's after the end, then we're in the happily ever after stage. We're safe. It's okay. If it's not, then probably my most recent role. This was Ethan in Me and My Bad Student, which will be coming out soon on Drama Wave as well.
Hmm.
Uh, here, let me plug that better. I would definitely go back to my most recent role, Ethan from Me and My Bad Student, streaming on Drama Wave, which will be coming out pretty soon. But and that's mainly just because he's a motorcycle racer. He's a lot of fun. He has, he's got a pretty nice gig set up. He's got a pretty nice life, and also I love to ride a bike. I love to ride motorcycles. So if I was, a racer, that would be an awesome time to live in for a day.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. I have a mixed feelings about motorcycles, but we won't go into that one.
Fair.
Yeah. Okay. What are some challenges you face on set that others outside the field might not recognize?
Ooh, stinky breath.
Okay. It's the
I
first
mean,
time I got that answer.
I taught my co-star recently this trick I have where you always offer someone gum. And
Mhm.
it's not much of a trick, but it's just like, you're gonna take some gum and you're gonna immediately offer them some gum to make sure if someone else has bad breath. You know, you're gonna eat some gum, and then you're gonna be, hey, do you want a piece of gum as well? Because
Mm,
everybody knows the etiquette is you do not say no to a piece of gum.
yeah.
Uh, it's the best because there is a lot of intimacy involved in verticals, and sometimes, oftentimes, okay, the real challenge that was a joke before, but this is real. The real challenge
Mm.
is for whatever reason we always shoot intimacy scenes immediately after lunch,
Hmm.
which presents such a challenge, and where it's just like, you're both full from lunch and you're digesting food, and no one feels very like sexy or anything, and and it's like, all right, let's do your whole like shirtless sequence, Jake, and I'm like, man, I just ate like 2 pounds of fried chicken. Now
Yeah,
we're gonna-
yeah. I
Um,
I just put a post up on my page about healthy eating on set because
mhm.
it's been a big thing, and a lot of the time they ask you to do those types of scenes right after eating that. So yeah.
Right after eating. It's so funny.
Mm.
And while it does pose a challenge, I guess it either poses a challenge mentally because I'm like, oh my gosh, now I don't look my best. So it's like a great way of destroying vanity and ego. Um, or it poses a challenge physically because I'll go, oh, I know I'm gonna be shirtless in a second. I don't want to be bloated, so I'm not gonna eat, and then I'm tired. So uh, it's really great training, one way or the other.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Um,
God.
Eating healthy is so important. Eating your
Yeah,
greens.
yeah. I'm advocating for that healthy food on set.
Please, please, that
Yeah,
would be great if we had you in our corner for that.
yeah.
My gosh, because that's a big thing. Is like having healthy food for lunch. Everybody feels so much better. Everybody works so much better. We all produce better stuff. I mean, it
Mm,
feels like a no-brainer, but it's something that doesn't get through all the time.
yeah.
But I mean, I don't want to sound ungrateful. I'm still getting a free lunch.
Yeah, oh, well, absolutely. But it's look, a nutritious lunch also helps you guys get through the day. If you're filling up on things that aren't nutritious or whatever, you're going to be tired, which means you're not going to give the best performance. You just, there's so many benefits to having a good, healthy food on set. Yeah,
I couldn't have said it better myself.
yeah.
Yes, you know what you're doing. You know what you're talking about.
A little bit, hopefully. I reached out to like actors and actresses to ask what foods they want on set. And then that way I could
Mhm.
like put them down and give people, anybody who sees it gets ideas. And even if we make like little changes here and there, it's a start.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. I mean, that's a great start. That's huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Okay.
were
How do you make similar roles feel unique?
that's a really good question. That's great. Um, I think a lot of it comes down to the script. I mean, every script is written a little bit differently, and sure, we'll see similar roles of I've played recently. I've played very similar like bad boy bike racer roles. Kind of like trust fund, entitled, and arrogant, and like emotionally troubled, and all that sort of stuff. And a lot of it comes from the context. I mean, these roles, they come from slightly different backgrounds, so they're slightly different people, and I draw from slightly different parts of myself. And it's all about, I think no matter what I've done before, coming into every role feeling fresh and trying to just like slate all of that out and come into it with a fresh pair of eyes.
Mm.
Where I think if I try too hard to come across as being unique, then I'm trying and it's not gonna work. And but it's when I let go of all of that and I go, okay, here's a new role. What do I think? Who is this person? Who's my guy? And then it's bound to be unique because it's a different role. And I'm also always in a different place. I try and I think a big part of it is I do try and constantly fill myself up with like a huge stream of media input of art that I really like. Whether it be like movies I'm really interested in or going to the museum or reading books. And by doing that, I'm always in a different mindset.
Yeah.
And so I approach every role within a different state of mind. So, you know, everybody's like a river or no, nobody can stand in the same river twice because it's not the same river and it's not the same person, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I think acting is a lot like standing in that river.
Yeah. No, that's true. How do you navigate playing a character when you don't agree with their motives?
Oh, that is a tricky one. I mean, if I can steal from what JT said when he was faced with a similar question, because I did stalk your past interviews a bit.
Yeah.
You have to approach every character without judgment. And that's really hard to do a lot of the time. And I think the thing is I have to find a way to agree with their motive, but not their action. Maybe like personally, ethically, morally, I could never agree with what they're doing, how they're enacting this motive. But can I think about how I've been jealous before and how that's made me act in ways that I'm not very proud of? Yeah. Or where I've been like so angry before that I couldn't think straight. And yeah, you know, and um, and so then it's like, okay, if I can liken myself to that, if I can, you know, if I can feel those things, then it makes sense that they're feeling these things and just kind of believe in the context and running with that and saying, well, sure, maybe me personally, Jake Lively, I would never commit this act. I would never act the way that this guy is. But um, I have felt a way that this person has felt. And this is where the character is different from the actor. And I feel like this has been something that's been really big for me, especially working in verticals, where it's oftentimes, and I have more experience playing the antagonist than I do the protagonist. So it's been a very big learning experience for me to separate myself, the actor, from the character, where at first it was like I wouldn't do so many things and I would say no and I'd be a headache on set because I wouldn't want to do stuff. He's like, how can you do that? No, I'm not gonna slap someone. And then like one day I had a serious conversation with myself. I said, hey man, you're acting. You're acting. It's
Mm.
not you doing it, you're acting. It's for the camera, you're putting on a show, it's a character. And
Yeah.
if you want to tell the right story with this character, sometimes you got to do things that you, the actor, don't want to do. And which I'm going off on a tangent now, but
That's okay.
yeah, I do think it is just about finding common ground with every character that you play. And while you may not like them, you have to find a way to love them. And while you might not agree with their actions, you gotta you gotta find a way to agree with where they're coming from
Yeah.
and the why of it all.
Yeah, that makes sense. And like a lot of the time with the villains, I always say it's different for us as we're watching because we don't have a backstory. A lot of the time we don't get the backstory as to why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
very much so. Yeah. Yeah, because we the actor need to build this whole backstory.
mm,
And we get to see pieces of it through the script or through the character breakdown or through talking with pardon me, or through talking with the director. But a lot of the time that doesn't really come through as strongly within the final cut of the series, just because there
yeah,
isn't a lot of time spent on this antagonist. There's not a lot of exposition spent. Um, that's a good
yeah,
point. Um, you got to
yeah,
really pick and choose what you're going to spend your time on with something as fast paced as a vertical. And a lot of time, they don't want to spend it on the gross rival alpha werewolf.
yeah. All right. Is there anything you want anybody to know about you or your work?
Nope.
Yep.
No, I'm sure about
Short
something.
answer.
All right, cut the cameras. I hate people knowing about me. I don't know
Yeah.
why I agreed to the interview. No, I don't know. I think the one thing that I want people to know about me or my work is that I care a lot. I feel like, especially in verticals, it's almost like a plague for people not to care. And I hear someone's like, "Oh, it's just a vertical," and I'm like, "Dude, who cares? The vertical is going to be as good as you make it. It's like when you go to Subway and you don't like the sandwich, like, dude, you made the sandwich."
Mm,
Um,
yeah. Yep.
so so at the end of the day, it's like, and I really come to realize that where, my very first couple, I was like, wow, I was like, it also comes down to scripts and stuff, but I had a few that I was I had to breathe a little bit after, you know. And then the more I've gotten comfortable with the medium and just sort of with acting in general too, the more I've gotten to have fun and enjoy it and enjoy the whole process and put out really good work that I really care about, I really like. And I think anybody that sees me on set, they get to see how much I care about what I'm doing. And I guess that's it. You know, I'm just that's also why I act. I care about a lot of stuff. I'm an empath.
Yeah.
As much
Mm,
as I like to hide behind humor, I care a lot, and
mm,
that's especially prevalent in my work.
yeah. I care too much too, and sometimes that's not always a good thing.
Oh, it's not. It's really not.
No.
But thank God for acting, where it is always a good thing in acting.
Yes. Yeah.
At least between
Okay.
acting.
If you had the power to change something in the vertical world, what would it be and why?
Um, I would say the one thing I would change is introducing more genres. You know, to tie back to what we were talking about earlier, I would really love to see more genres. Uh, as much fun as soap operas are and rom-coms are, I would just it would be a fun way to explore different roles and different opportunities and different contexts and different characters. Yeah, I think if I had to pick one thing, it would be, you know, let's get crazy. Let's make an action. Let's make a thriller. Let's make a horror. Let's
Yeah.
make a comedy.
Yeah. Let's be more creative. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm. All right. What is your funniest moment on set?
Funniest moment on set. That's a tricky one. I do feel like I'm very fortunate where I feel like I spend most of my time on set laughing,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Yeah.
which is always a great thing. I mean, if I get to spend most of my day laughing, it's a good day.
Yeah.
Uh, so it's hard to pick out a moment. I've got it. I've got it. So I've got it. This was from my very first vertical. It was, I can't remember what it was called. It was with Daniel Summer was the male lead. Remember that? Because I've worked with him a few times since. Great guy. Very kind, very generous actor. And I remember this scene because I was with him and I'm talking about him. I'm playing his assistant. The it's a werewolf one. And so I'm his beta. He's the alpha. And it's this scene, I think it's our last day of shooting. And I'm talking to someone, I can't remember who. I just like was really singing his praises, talking about how like why he's the alpha and how he's the best alpha. And within the written script, I think I said alpha 3 times within 3 lines, something like that, right? Like pretty much every sentence I say alpha somewhere. And I go, wow, this is a lot of times to say alpha. You
Mm.
know, I want to see how many times I can slip it in.
Mm.
Just how many alphas can I get? And the line ended up containing like 7. I said alpha something like 7 times. It was one of the sentences I'll never forget was, yeah, alpha's the alpha because he's the best alpha out of all the alphas.
Wow.
And I say that along with a whole bunch of other stuff about the alpha and about him being the alpha and alpha, alpha, alpha. And it
Mm.
got to a point where like the word lost meaning to me. And we did one
Mm.
take of my coverage, and it was the best reaction I got the entire shoot. People loved it. It was my coverage, so the people I'm acting across from, they all break. They're all crying laughing. Um and we break. And the director goes, Jake, that was great. We loved it. Great. Moving on. I go, great. Okay, cool. Um, that was really funny. Maybe it wasn't as funny as the story, but it was great. I think that was the first time I realized I could have so much fun and just like let
Mm.
go on these sort of sets.
Yeah. I do notice that they like to, in verticals especially, because they're in like 2-minute fragments, they like to point out the obvious very often to keep people, yes, that is an alpha. Yes, that is a billionaire. They have to like point it out.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, they
Yeah.
really do. They keep people engaged and I mean, it's also moving so fast that it's like,
Mm.
it'd be really easy to forget. Oh, like, is he the billionaire? Is he the alpha? Which alpha is he? Like, which pack does he belong to? Which mafia crime family is he part of? That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
also, like,
Totally.
sometimes they can be very tongue-in-cheek and they can be very self-aware and camp, which is
Yeah.
great. And I love, like,
Yeah.
leaning into that sort of aspect. from time to time. I mean, another really funny time I had was on The Divine Heiress. No, The Betrayed Mother is the Divine Heiress. It was me and it was myself and six other guys playing my brothers
Mhm.
and our mom.
Mhm.
And so we spent almost every day on set all together, which was the biggest cast, it was the biggest ensemble cast I've ever been part of. It was such a great time. And by the end, we're shooting the last banquet scene, and it's this large, large banquet scene that's taking multiple days to shoot. And I go, you know what? This is like already after like my character and most of us have like been kicked down a little bit. We're pretty down in the dumps, and we were like right next to this big champagne tower. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna play like I'm getting really drunk. Might as well, you know? And by the end of the sequence, I'm like swaying, I'm holding on for support and slurring my words. And and I'm just really leaning into it. And I didn't tell anyone I was gonna do that until Scripty comes up towards like one of those later scenes, and she goes, uh, "Jake, are you playing really, really drunk?" And I go, "Yeah, yeah." You notice? She
Yeah.
goes, "Yeah, yeah, it's great. We love it."
Yeah. Okay. Excellent.
Um,
Oh,
that
no,
was a
that's
good.
funny. I love when the directors and stuff like that let you have that like creative choice and
Absolutely.
like yeah,
I mean, I think, that's where it comes down to like the director needs to trust the actor as much as the actor needs to trust the director. Where
yeah,
it's like they're juggling so many balls at once, and I'm just focused on my one character. I know this guy through and through. I know what he's thinking. I know what he's gonna do next better than I think anyone most of the time. And yeah, I think we get to elevate the project itself and the outcome itself so much when every actor is so in tune with their role that they're all making these sort of spontaneous choices that are not in the script, that are
yeah,
mentioned prior, and just like this feels right. This feels in the groove of my character. And then, I feel like 90-95% of the time it is, and it really just elevates whatever we're doing.
yeah. I agree. I agree. All right, I have one more question for you. What does
Hmm.
a good day on set look like for you?
That's a good one. I am called at 9 a.m. or later.
Hmm.
I'm not a morning person.
Yeah.
That's how we start. Outside of that, I'm with a cast that I like, and I mean, I always like my cast, so we haven't had a time yet that we haven't hit check that box.
Hmm.
But I'm with a lot of people that I trust and I'm comfortable around, which again, it's happened like every time so far, so that's great. Um, and again, I spend most of the time laughing. I'm acting a lot. For me, a perfect day on set is a very busy day on set. I've had days where I show up when I'm playing like the support or something, and I'll show up and I shoot one scene and then I'm gone. And everyone's like, "Wow,
Mm-hmm.
that's so awesome. You got paid for your day to go shoot one scene." I go, "Yeah, I guess, but like I'm here to act. I want to
Mm-hmm.
act. I want to do my job." I've had
Yeah.
days where I was called for the first and the last scene. I spent the entire middle time just like hanging out, milling about, kicking
Mm-hmm.
back. And it's fun, it's great, but it's like I want to act, I want to work.
Yeah.
I do this job not because I want to get a paycheck or anything. I do this job because I really like the job itself. And so a perfect day for me is, being called after 9 p.m. No. Perfect day for me is being called after 9 a.m.
Mm.
Um, it's been a long week. Being called after 9 uh being with a cast that and a crew that I feel comfortable around and I really trust, and that they are having fun. If they're having fun, I'm having so much fun, and we're all having a lot of fun. I mean, 9 times out of 10, I'm having fun anyways. But if they're having fun, then I'm having more fun. Um, and a day that I'm really busy, and then it's like that's one of my favorite ways to spend the day in general. Really, let alone days on set. This is like one of my favorite days to have is like a full 12-hour shoot day that I'm so exhausted at the end of, but I'm gonna be so happy that like I put in good work and I got to hang out with my friends all day and it's a good
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. I've heard that one of the hardest things to do is being told to hurry up and wait. Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. That
Mm.
is hard. It's such an energy killer just waiting around.
Yeah. I mean,
But
me
also,
people have had mixed answers. Like some are like, oh, I like watching what my co-stars do, or you like, I love hanging out in the background and playing cards with the other people that aren't, doing it. But then there are some just like, I just really want to be doing it, like you said.
yeah, yeah, I want to be doing it. It's why I do it, because I want to. I mean, I do always go to set with a good book in tow.
Mm,
I end up opening it maybe 1 out of 12 times.
yeah,
Um, because I'm always, I end up hanging out with other people on set doing whatever when I do have a downtime. But, I like to not have downtime.
yeah,
eh,
yeah.
Keep the
That makes
target moving.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to be busy. You want to be in front of the camera.
Busy.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for having this interview with me today.
Thank you for having me, Kathy. This was absolutely wonderful. It's a good time.
Anytime, anytime.
I hope my newness at interviews didn't show too much.
No,
Um,
you did fine. It was fun.
oh, great.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll let you go, but thank you very much, and I'll talk to you again very soon.
Absolutely. Watch Me, My Bad Student when it comes out.
I will. I will.
Good, good. I will
Yeah.
too. We can both watch
Okay.
it.
Yeah. All right. Bye.
Bye, Kathy.